Japan's submarine fleet hits 22 hulls by 2027, each silent enough to stalk a carrier group undetected for weeks. China, with its massive surface navy, suddenly faces a nightmare in the Pacific's deep waters, because these are hunters designed to sever Beijing's sea lanes in hours. Japan's Maritime Self-Defense Force, or JMSDF, faces a brutal reality in today's Pacific. China's navy now boasts over 370 warships, 2 operational carriers like the Fujian, dozens of Type 055 destroyers packing hypersonic YJ-21 missiles, and a surface fleet that dwarfs Japan's 54 destroyers and frigates combined. Beijing shipbuilding yards churn out steel at triple Japan's rate, with plans for a 440-ship navy by 2030. But here's the catch. Raw numbers don't guarantee sea control, as especially not across 60 million square miles of ocean, where Taiwan sits just 110 miles from China's coast. The Miyako Strait narrows to 250 miles, about the drive from Los Angeles to Las Vegas, and the Philippine Sea stretches 1,200 miles wide. Japan's current solutions fall dangerously short. The aging Oyashio-class subs from the 1990s pump out noise above 105 decibels at speed, loud enough for modern sonar arrays to track them like a freight train rumbling through a quiet neighborhood. Surface combatants face saturation attacks from China's DF-21D and DF-26 carrier-killer ballistic missiles, which scream 900 to 2,500 miles at Mach 10, overwhelming Aegis defenses with sheer numbers. If Japan can't solve this underwater asymmetry, the consequences cascade. China seizes the East China Sea unchallenged, sub-blockades Taiwan with impunity, bottles up U.S. reinforcements behind the first island chain, and dominates $5 trillion in annual trade routes running through these choke points. One misstep, and the balance tips permanently. Can Japan's 22 silent hunters choke off China's naval ambitions in the Pacific? Let's meet the players in this underwater chess match. Japan shattered post-Buda's Weuts pacifism by investing $30 billion since 2010 into its submarine program, targeting 22 hulls by 2027, 12 Soryu-class plus 10 Taige-class boats. Each displaces 4,100 tons submerged, longer than a World War II destroyer, with lithium-ion batteries boosting underwater endurance 20% beyond diesel-electric rivals. China counters with roughly 60 diesel-electric subs, 13 noisy Song-class relics from the 1990s, the 21-plus improved Yuan-class Type 039A boats, but these run louder at 110-120 decibels and manage just 200 miles on battery power before snorkeling betrays their position. Japan's hunters, by contrast, stretch patrols indefinitely across vast ocean basins. This creates savage competitive tension. Japan doesn't need to match China's 700-ship Grand Fleet vision. It just needs to lurk invisible in the Philippine Sea's shadows, picking off oilers and amphibious ships that keep planned carriers fueled and troops supplied. A single well-placed Type 89 torpedo severs a tanker's spine, stranding a task force 800 miles from home, roughly Shanghai to Guam. But here's where it gets really interesting. Japan isn't building these weapons alone. Through AUKUS Pillar 2, they're sharing lithium-ion tech with Australia, which plans 8 Virginia-class nuclear boats. India ramps up its own sub-hunt with leased Akulas, while eyeing Soryu-derived designs. What happened next shocked even Beijing's admirals. Japan's yards accelerated to 2 boats per year. Japan's submarine revolution begins below decks, with batteries that rewrite endurance rules. Ditch the old diesel-electric clunkers that guzzle air and snortle every few days. The Soryu class integrates Stirling Air Independent Propulsion, AIP, and, from the 2021 Oryu boat onward, massive lithium-ion stacks pack up to 20 megawatt-hours of juice. That translates to 2 to 3 weeks of silent loitering at 2 knots, covering 1,000 miles without ever breaking the surface. Twice the endurance of China's best Wan-class subs. Why this obliterates the old playbook. A Chinese carrier strike group like the Liaoning or Shandong burns through 100 tons of fuel daily just to steam at 20 knots. Strike the 2 accompanying oilers with a brace of torpedoes, and that entire formation goes dead in the water 800 miles from the nearest friendly port. China's Type 039A Gwens must surface every 72 hours for air, lighting up satellite infrared and giving away their game. Japan's Ghosts, coated in anechoic tiles that absorb 95% of active sonar pings, prowl at 95-100 decibels, quieter than a conversation in the next room. Proof came hard in the 2023 RIMPAC exercises off Hawaii, the world's largest naval drill. Taigi-class prototypes evaded 8 US, Australian, and Allied hunter-killer subs for 336 straight hours, simulating a full combat patrol. Wargame models from think tanks like CSIS project one Japanese boat could shred 80% of a planned replenishment convoy, threading the 150-mile-wide Miyako Strait before helicopter patrols or destroyer sonars lock on. That's not theory, that's physics. Lithium chemistry versus diesel desperation. Before we dive into the next section, comment your guess. Can one Japanese sub sever a Chinese carrier's fuel lifeline in under 24 hours? Drop your prediction below. But here's the real kicker. This endurance lets Japan run coordinated packs of 3 boats across choke points. They're fixing targets with one while killers close from the flanks. No surface navy sails safely. Now arm these phantoms for kill shots. Each boat carries 30 heavyweight Type 89 torpedoes, 50-knot, 30-mile wire-guided monsters with 485-pound warheads, plus planned vertical launch systems, VLS, for the upgraded Type 12 anti-ship missile. This beast reaches 200 miles at Mach 3, delivering a 500-pound warhead tuned to shred destroyer keels or blind radars. The strategic devastation. China's mighty Type 055 Renhai cruisers mount layered defenses, HQ-9 surface-to-air missiles, CIWS guns, decoys, but they crack under submerged salvos. Picture 6 VLS cells ripple firing. Type 12S from a single sub, forcing planned captains to burn $2 million interceptors against each $1.5 million incoming missile. While defenses choke on the barrage, some Type 89 torpedoes streak in silent for the coup de grace, homing on propeller cavitation at 1,500 yards. CSIS wargames paint the nightmare. 3 Japanese subs dismantle a 12-ship Chinese invasion fleet off Taiwan's eastern beaches, sinking 4 Type 075 amphibs loaded with 30,000 troops, 2 critical oilers, and delaying landings by 72 crucial hours. Analysts envision overlapping Type 12 barrages saturating 250-mile detection plan radars, jammed to half range by sub-launch decoys and electronic warfare pods. One missile blinds the SPY-6 array, the next punches through to the bridge. This reveals China's critical mistake, pouring billions into blue water carriers, while Japan's Kobe and Kure shipyards crank out subs at 2 per year. What they did next surprised even Pentagon planners, retrofitting VLS cells into the latest Soryu 2 boats ahead of schedule. Before we proceed, drop your take. Would China's hypersonic DF-17S spot these stealth hunters before the torpedoes hit? Japan didn't just dream of these capabilities, they hammered them in live fire. The 2024 Nanmadol exercises turned the Philippine Sea into a submarine proving ground. That 120-mile-wide Luzon Strait, roughly New York City to Boston, saw 12 JMSDF boats pitted against the U.S. Virginia-class hunters, Australian Collins upgrades, and mock Chinese task forces. Result: Japanese subs sank 22 virtual warships, including 2 carriers, by threading the strait at periscope depth while evading ASW helicopters. Why this proves dominance. China's Song-class subs push 20 knots, but echo at 115 decibels, undetectable by Japan's conformal array sonars at 40 miles through thermal layers. The trade-off stings. China's 60 diesel boats spread thin across 3.5 million square miles of contested ocean, while Japan's 22 focus on the first island chain's deadly funnels. Here's what kept plan admirals up at night. 2025 wargame projections from RAND and CSIS show 10 Japanese subs holding the Miyako-Luzon-Bashi Triangle, forcing any planned invasion fleet into a 500-mile southern detour through fuel-scarce waters. China counters with undersea drone swarms, cheap glider munitions released from Type 093 nukes, but Japan matches with sonobuoy upgrades plunging detection to 100 feet. Mapping drone paths before they swarm. Japan trains for distributed lethality. 3-boat wolf packs fix with sonars, flank with missiles, and finish with torpedoes. Beijing rushes 12 new Type 096 nuclear attack subs by 2030, but their noisy reactors lag Japan's quiet diesel edge in littoral waters. Before the finale, comment on this. Does Japan's sub-surge force China to completely rethink a Taiwan invasion? The shockwaves reshape alliances and power balances. Australia fast-tracks 8 Virginia-class attack subs using Japanese lithium-ion tech transfers via AUKUS Pillar 2. India leases more Akula boats while negotiating Soryu-derived AIP systems for Project 75 Alpha. This emerging quad undersea net stretches 7,000 miles from Yokosuka to Diego Garcia, boxing in China's oil import lifelines. 80% of Beijing's crude sails through these contested seas. The global pivot hits hard. America's Pacific Fleet, down to 50 attack subs against 2,030 goals, gains critical breathing room. Japan's 22 hunters own the shallow straits where 7,000-ton nuclear boats scrape bottom. China must divert 20% of its 80-plus destroyers to ASW screens, gutting carrier strike power. One Japanese sub-pack ties down an entire planned destroyer squadron. Future shock looms by 2030. Japan's hunter-killer doctrine deploys drone tenders from sub-sail hatches, extending kill chains to 500 miles with loitering UUVs packing 100-pound warheads. China scrambles with copycat lithium boats, but trails 5 years on quiet hulls and AIP integration. The Pacific's underwater domain flips from Chinese expansion to Allied denial. Japan's 22 silent hunters can choke China's naval ambitions dead. The lithium endurance outlasts noisy foes. 2 to 3 week silent versus 72-hour Chinese sprints. Type 12 salvos overwhelm cruiser defenses, and Pacific drills prove choke point mastery, disrupting 70% of a planned task force in war games before U.S. carriers even steam west. These aren't theoretical wins. They're validated by multi-year exercises where Japanese boats repeatedly embarrassed larger forces. The math doesn't lie. 22 optimized hunters trump 60 noisy workhorses in the straits that matter most. Here's what you need to remember from this arms race shift. First, submarines rewrite naval power equations entirely. Surface fleets turn into fat, vulnerable targets without secure undersea flanks. Admirals from Tokyo to Washington now scrap outdated carrier-centric doctrines. So realizing one hidden boat with torpedoes can gut an entire strike group before planes even launch. Japan's 22 hunters prove quiet trumps quantity in the littorals. Second, technology alliances multiply force exponentially. Japan's lithium-ion battery sharing transforms AUKUS Pillar 2 into an unbreakable undersea wall stretching from Yokosuka to Perth. Real-time data links fuse Virginia-class nuclear attack subs with Taigei diesels into one networked kill web, sharing sonar contacts instantly, turning independent boats into a swarm that overwhelms planned defenses through coordination alone. Third, deterrence cuts both ways brutally. China hesitates on Taiwan invasions, knowing oiler convoys vanish first in the dark, while Beijing's noisy subs face attrition rates 3 times higher in simulated shallow water slugfests. Japan stealth forces Beijing into expensive ASW diversions, bleeding resources before any shot fires. These aren't abstractions, they're the new Pacific reality. Future stakes burn hotter than ever. China's Type 093B nuclear subs test noisy prototypes in 2026 South China Sea trials, but their 120 decibel signatures scream across thermoclines. Japan counters aggressively with the enlarged 5,500-ton Shin-Taiyo-class boats by 2028, packing 40 weapons, next-gen conformal sonars, and modular VLS tubes for hypersonic upgrades. Watch the 2027 Talisman Sabre exercises. Australia's first lithium Virginia will join Japan's full 22-boat Wolfpack against mock plan carriers. The question isn't if subs rule the Pacific, but who masters them first, and who blinks when the shooting starts over disputed atolls. One leaked PLA Navy memo already calls Japan's lithium edge the silent dagger at our sea lanes. By 2030, expect unmanned subtenders prowling from Hokkaido to the Spratlys, turning 7,000 miles of ocean into a kill zone where numbers mean nothing and stealth decides everything. So, can Japan's silent hunters truly terrify China? Absolutely, they grip the Pacific's throat with invisible steel. Now it's your turn. Japan stealth or China numbers? Which wins your personal wargame scenario? Comment below and subscribe for more such videos on military strategies.